Trustees, officers, ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for the Worshipful, the Mayor of Bournemouth.
Good evening all. Thank you very much for coming this evening. It's good to see so many individuals in the chamber, particularly trustees, and I'm very pleased with the support that the Bournemouth Charter Trustees is receiving this evening. I would like to welcome all the Charter Trustees to this meeting of the Bournemouth Charter Trustees and to the press and public and members of the public. Please note that this meeting is being broadcast live and will be published on the Council website for a minimum of 6 months. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand physically to indicate. I would be obliged, because we've got so many councillors here that may have not been before, is if you could state your name when you're speaking. That would be useful for the record. Thank you. Where there appears to be a consensus in the meeting for a motion, I will ask if there is any dissension. Where a formal vote is required, this will be carried out by show of hands. As a courtesy, please do not talk amongst yourself during any debates. Before we start the business of the agenda, as you know, the Charter Trustees is a non-political body, with the primary objective being to maintain and promote the historic and ceremonial traditions of Bournemouth. I'm keen that we all work together to maintain that objective. Before we start the meat of the meeting itself, I would just like to highlight to anybody who's not aware that agenda item number 6, a notice of a motion, is that the following consultation with the advice of the Honorary Clerk and upon my consideration of Bournemouth Charter Trustees standing orders, I, as the Mayor of Bournemouth Charter Trustees, rule that having considered the standing orders, that the motion by Councillor J. Salmon and seconded by Councillor K. Salmon shall not be debated as it falls outside the scope of Standing Order 1A. In accordance with Standing Order 25, there is no ability for Charter Trustees to challenge this decision. However, I am advised by the Honorary Clerk that the Civic Working Group will undertake a review of the Standing Orders to ensure that they're fit for purpose, whereupon I will consider any further advice from the Honorary Clerk. Item 1, apologies. I will ask the Honorary Clerk to report any apologies received for this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Apologies have been received from the following councillors: Councillor Brian Castle, Councillor Hazel Allen, Councillor Richard Herrett, Councillor Bernadette Nanovo, Councillor Karen Rampton, Councillor Eleanor Connolly, Councillor Jamie Martin and Councillor Kieran Wilson.
Thank you, Honorary Clerk. Can I invite any further apologies from the floor? Councillor Broadhead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Apologies from Councillor Dove.
Any further apologies from the floor? Thank you greatly, and the Honorary Clerk will make sure that is noted in the minutes as an apology. Agenda item number 2, declarations of interest. Honorary Clerk, can you report any declarations of interest received?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. None have been received today. If members do feel they have a potential conflict of interest, if they could follow the flow chart that's written in the agenda, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Item 3, confirmation of minutes and matters arising. Charter Trustees are asked to receive the minutes of the meeting held on the 22nd of January, 24th of May and 25th of June 2024 and to consider any matters arising. Can we have consensus that the minutes are accurate? Any dissension? Thank you greatly. Agenda item number 4, Charter Mayor's communications. Have we received any communications?
I think this is for your update.
Absolutely. Right. So from my perspective, it's been a busy, oh goodness, 5-6 weeks now. I was set to work straight away after the inauguration. I had 2 engagements on the Saturday following the Friday. And I've had about 30 odd engagements since I was made Charter Mayor. The majority of those I won't go into, other than the fact that my engagements have been curtailed a little by the general election. And in fact, I was on an engagement on the night of the general election, which meant I was a little bit late for the count. But I think everybody was a little bit late that was at the actual count itself. A few of note which I'd sort of bring to the table. The engagements which I have with children and children's organisations and schools bring me the most amount of joy. Of particular note is Bournemouth and Bloom. 25 odd schools from around the Bournemouth conurbation partook of the Bournemouth and Bloom competition, which was on a theme of the RNLI. And this ranged from preschool all the way up to Bournemouth School for Girls and that secondary school level. And the efforts were, no matter large or small, whether it was from a washing up basin up to a hanging basket or a full display, was absolutely phenomenal. The organisers very kindly requested and suggested that I turn up in my full mayoral robes, and we had this entire chamber was filled with children, and we had a very, very jolly time indeed. I say that it's a very jolly time because we had quite a few giggles, we had lots of photos, but I was also presented with a gift, which really touched me. I've made a sort of decision that I'd rather than receive gifts as the mayor. I'd rather a donation went to my chosen charity, which is Every Poor Matters, and that will go out in an instruction. But I wanted to bring it to the attention of the Charter Trustees because it was a very well chosen gift, and I brought it in today. I'm not wearing it tonight, but I just actually wanted to share it with you. For those of you that know that I'm a great fan of my greyhound, my rescued greyhounds, I hope that you can all see.
You see? Oh, the dog.
So, not only does it say the dog father, but it's also in the logo and the style of the Godfather, the film itself. And thankfully, it's in my size as well. So I want to thank the children of Bournemouth for such a thoughtful gift. Our engagements of a more serious note is that we had the opportunity to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings. That involved laying a wreath, but also a beacon lighting ceremony. For those of you that didn't manage to catch or go along to the beacon lighting ceremony, we ensured that Bournemouth held our part as one of the coastal towns to actually light a beacon on our cliff tops by the John Egging statue at the same time as beacons were being lit on the landing grounds in France. So that's the perspective from the report. The other amount of fun, a great amount of fun which I had, sorry, it's gone out of my mind. But what I would ask of every Charter Trustee here, I've got a number of business cards which actually have stamped on them the contact details for the Mayor of Bournemouth. We absolutely thrive on engagements, or gigs as I call them. So I would like every Charter Trustee at the end of the meeting to take at least 2 cards to share with a school or a charity or an organisation or a community within your group, within Bournemouth, that would like to have the presence of the Mayor, which may add some value to either the gravitas or the fun of the actual engagement itself. Will every Charter Trustee take me up on my challenge there and take 2 cards and share? Any dissension? Thank you. So, moving swiftly on, I think we're on to item agenda number 5, the report of the Civic Working Group. Can I call upon Councillor John Beasley to present the report of the Civic Working Group?
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Mayor. I present the report of the Civic Working Group. Some of the items are for noting, so I would ask that members note those. But there is a recommendation in there, which is that the Charter Trustees agree the Mayor-making 2025 be held on Tuesday, the 20th of May 2025 at 11:15 a.m. And I so move and ask that the report is received by the Charter Trustees. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, for those of you that didn't quite catch that, it's a case of that the mayor-making ceremony is one of the 4 scheduled meetings of Charter Trustees, and it starts at the beginning of the mayoral year, where we actually do precisely as it says on the tin. We elect a new mayor, and the mayor outgoing normally takes up the role of deputy mayor. By bringing it forward from the Friday, traditionally before the bank holiday, is a break with presidents, but I would certainly welcome debate from the Charter Trustees for the relative merits. And I'll call upon somebody to argue the point on both sides, if you please. Councillor Fowler, Deputy Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's something that I've thought about for many years, that traditionally the mayor-making, when the mayor changes over in the big ceremony, is on the Friday just before half-term, the spring bank holiday. And back in the day, people didn't used to go away so much as they do now, but now parents are hard-pressed. A lot of schools have an inset day on that Friday, and it means that very few people, either people have got the children at home, or they're going away, because they have the opportunity to have a 10-day holiday for the sake of 1 week. And I think it's a shame. The mayor-making ceremony is really impressive and it's really good. And it's lovely for everyone to be able to join in. And from my point of view, I think knowing that it's on bank holiday weekend, it would be much more sensible to have it earlier in that week and allow more people to go. Although I appreciate that some people are working, it just gives a better opportunity, and I think it can do no harm, and perhaps it's an experiment that we should try for this year and see how it goes.
Councillor Broadhead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It seems like a perfectly sensible solution to me as well, particularly if we're trialling it to get as many people involved as possible, and on that basis I'd be more than happy to second the recommendation. Thank you.
Any further debate or views? The argument, of course, that should need to remain unsaid is that this will cut short my mayoral year by how many days? 3 days.
Almost 1%.
Which I'm advised by those that are good with the mental arithmetic is approximately 1% of my mayoral year. So I would call upon you all to get me more engagements, if you please. So I'll put it to the Charter Trustees. Are we agreed? Any dissension? No. Right. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Councillor Beasley, for presenting the report from the Civic Working Group. Right, so just before I close the meeting itself, I just wanted to say again, with my sincerest thanks, I think this is the largest turnout of Charter Trustees that I've seen in my mayoral year, and it's arguably the largest turnout of Charter Trustees that I've seen since I was first elected in 2019. I have attended quite a number of meetings. Honorary Clerk, how many councillors or how many trustees do we have in the room?
In the room there are 32 Charter Trustees out of 44.
32 Charter Trustees out of 44. That's an outstanding effort, and I must say that I'm mightily heartened by that engagement with the Charter Trustees and in our mission to continue to uphold and promote the ceremonial traditions, the historic ceremonial traditions of Bournemouth. So, without any further ado, I will now formally close the meeting. Thank you very much.
Could you please be upstanding?